pending, possibly Monday, though. Mitch McConnell spearheaded this effort. Then the House and President need to sign off. Could be a long way. The estimated cost will reportedly hit $1 trillion or possibly more. But all of this has come together pretty fast.
We want to respond and make sure we are providing resources to our medical professionals and researchers. That's important, and I fully support that, which is why we should use this moment to ask ourselves at a moment like this whether it's really necessary to keep spending on wasteful things. If we don't consider this now, when will we ever consider this?
Spending the money is one thing. Spending it wisely may be another. Ross Marchand tracks this kind of thing. He spoke with Chance Seals about where the money is going.
What are the most critical pieces as these giant pieces of legislation are being written? Is it the checks to everyday Americans? Is it the no interest loans or low interest loans to small businesses? Is it keeping the airlines going? What is it?
Those are the top two. And the first and most important thing, and there will probably be $500 billion, give or take, devoted to this, is making sure that individuals and families can pay their bills on time, can pay their taxes on time. And by the way, the new tax payment date is July 15th. And making sure, and by the way, there's $200 billion to help out businesses temporarily, making sure that businesses can keep employees on payroll for the time being. Those are the two most important components of any response that members of Congress and the Trump administration can work together on.
After the 2008 crisis, we heard a lot of people very upset. Occupy Wall Street, Tea Party, all these things saying the wrong choices were being made. Big businesses were being prioritized over the everyday guy. And so are the priorities right this time?
I think that we're doing a better job so far. And of course, like so many things, right? So much is touch and go. So we will not know the full answer to that question probably for months or maybe even years to come. But at least we're doing a better job in making sure right away that we're putting individuals and families first and foremost, because that is going to be, if, for example, the Senate GOP proposal becomes law, that's going to be the most important part, and that's the most important priority. And when you had the bailouts 10 years ago, and when you had Occupy Wall Street and all that stuff, there's a very real feeling that individuals and households were not put first, and big companies were just given money without any strings attached. We cannot follow suit and do the same thing 10 years later.
It sounds like what you're saying is you think that there should be unconditional payments made to everyday Americans who might need help, and then conditional, maybe loans made to businesses that need to stay afloat. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. And businesses, the condition really has to be temporary. It has to be in terms of workers not being thrown off of payroll. So let's start off with the individual, because in this country, regular middle of the road individual income is somewhere in the mid-30s. So I would not want to make the cutoff for the maximum payment available to individuals to be much more than that. And then for families, maybe make it in the $70,000 to $80,000 for that maximum payment going to families. And then they cut out entirely for wealthy individual and families.
Should it matter geographically where someone's from? Living in Manhattan, Kansas versus living in Manhattan, New York City?
Yeah, I think there absolutely needs to be some sort of geographic regional adjustment. The devil is going to be in the details, but it's important to try to work those problems out as soon as possible.
Who is the watchdog in this case to make sure this is being done correctly, ethically?
Taxpayers across the country need to be watchdogs, need to keep a close eye on what Congress is up to. Watchdog groups, taxpayer and consumer groups like the Taxpayers Protection Alliance, where I work, we need to keep a close eye too. But there needs to be more than that. There needs to be a dedicated Inspector General office dedicated to these funds going out to the American people and going out to businesses, and make sure this money is not misused and misspent.